joining us today. I am really fortunate to be joined by Sid, who's one of our foster carers. Hi, Sid. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to just have a conversation with you about Ramadan. Obviously, we're now into the Ramadan period of time, and as somebody, I confess, I'm quite ignorant to all things to do with this period, and I just wanted to touch base with you to ask you some questions about it. Things that we should know as people who do life with people that are observing it, and also if anybody's looking after children who are observing Ramadan, what do they need to know? So, got lots of questions for you, but can you start by telling us, first of all, what is Ramadan? Anyone that's observing it, what does it mean to them?
It's a month of peace, tranquility, and it's observing a month that all Muslims are united and we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. So basically we fast from sunrise to sunset. So you can imagine there's millions and millions of people who will be at that very second, exactly at Maghrib, opening up their fast. So it's about unity. First thing for me, it's about uniting everybody together. The second, I've always been taught by my mother and my father, is to feel the hunger of a person who has no food.
Mm.
And there is a saying that your breath will smell like a camel's breath, because that's the that your gut is basically telling you, and it's telling you that, you know something, you need food.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a spiritual, it's an enlightenment for this month for me and majority of the Muslims.
It's really interesting because I think we tend to focus so much on the fasting part that actually we miss the whole spiritual part, the unity part. So, are there activities that go on at that time as well?
So what we do is that the men and the women now is that you can go into the mosque and basically go for your namazes. You can go for 5 prayers. But on Ramadan, where people are working and stuff, they tend to go for the last salah, which is Maghrib, and that is like it's beautiful. The atmosphere is just amazing. It's just this, everybody is basically there for that purpose, to pray that namaz. And then it's just nice because everybody has a date and they give you some zamzam water and you open your fast and then you do your prayers together.
Oh, that's nice. So it's a real community thing.
Yeah, it's definitely it brings the community together.
So if there are colleagues, and say if I was to kind of bump into you out and about doing errands, what would be helpful things to say to somebody who's observing Ramadan?
Don't offer me water. I can't drink water. Because you get a lot of that. People will say, well, would you like a sip of water? No, it's basically you're not allowed to eat or drink. So, and it's just people like who are working, maybe they're sort of like colleagues and their bosses giving them that 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes that they can open their fast in peace. So they can literally have that spiritual, because you pray, so you can actually pray as well, and maybe have a facility in their workplace that they can actually pull out the masalla, which is the prayer mat, and actually pray their 3 rakat fard, which is would be fantastic, because I know that that service is not offered in all places because maybe the size of the establishment.
And general awareness, I imagine.
Yeah, and be honest with you, it's just education as well. At the end of the day, I think is key. I think I educate myself in other people's religions. I think it's very important for somebody to actually educate themselves in my religion.
What else would be unhelpful?
Unhelpful as in
So obviously we
just
don't want
don't.
to organise events where you have to come and eat during the day. Brunch is not
Yeah,
really a
and maybe
thing.
not have it around that time. But to be honest with you, I was working and I used to go to corporate events and there was food and everything around me. But my boss, bless him, he used to turn around and say to me, you know something, Sid, you can skip this bit out. The food bit, he used to always say, you skip that bit out and come back to the conference side.
Oh, which
So
probably
that,
then gave you a chance to go and pray as well, right?
yeah, and then it gave me that time to actually be honest with you, because I was so tired. I used to just sort of like close my eyes for 15 minutes and have a power nap.
Yeah.
It's very important to have that little bit of power nap when you're working,
Yeah.
because it just, that 10 minutes makes such a difference sometimes.
Does it affect your energy levels, all of that?
It really does. Be honest with you, fasting, the first, I would say, 6 days, you're sort of like your body's getting used to not having the food. But then after the sixth day is really, you become energetic, because I think that you're cutting out all of these sort of like foods, like, you know, that make you very sluggish. So when I open my fast, I start off with fruit and a date, to be honest with you, because date gives you energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important what type of foods are put in front of you as well.
Yeah, because you don't want to be crashing either.
No, because you can, but be honest with you, you get a lift as well after sort of like, I find the sixth day, I have a lot more energy. It's like I'm whizzing around the house and I'm like, oh, I cleaned the windows today.
Now, Sid, you're a foster carer. You've got 2 children living with you, been there a really long time, part of the family. Are they observing Ramadan as well?
They are. Be honest with you, Uzi, he started when he was 7. Now, first, how I started him off was a couple of hours. I'd say, right, you can do an hour today. You can do 2 hours. And then I felt that as his resilience was building, I started sort of like adding half an hour, and then I'd add an hour. And then once he himself was ready, not pressurized, he needs to know his body's ready, his mind is ready to be able to fast. He started doing them sort of like all of them from the age of 8.
Oh, wow.
And I literally, at 7, I didn't really want him to keep them, because I thought that, you know something, no, you're still growing, I don't want you to sort of like have a stunted growth because you're not eating properly. But because his mindset is so strong, and he wanted to be part, because we celebrate Ramadan in our house, we'll put like, when towards the last 5 days when it's finishing, I'll put all the decorations up, and then we have a timetable as well, so he gets to cross the days out as well in pen. So he's part of it, and he helps prepare the food as well, so I involve them in preparing the food. So they really enjoy stuff like that. They want it to be, they see it as such a success for themselves.
I saw in the Capstone office they had Ramadan advent calendar type things as well. So is that what you mean when you say about crossing the days
Yes.
off?
And no, we also have, the mosque gives you a timetable, what time the fast breaks, what time you got to stop eating, and then what time the 5 prayers are. So what we have is that we put it on our fridge, so they both have turns to the ones that we've completed. They get black marker and then they cross them out.
Oh, how amazing.
And for them, it's success.
Yeah, yeah, kids love that. Did you have to communicate with the school? How are they finding it, kind of
I
observing the
email, be honest
Ramadan?
with you, our schools are so good now. They basically email you before Ramadan a week, and then they say to you, that is your child going to be fasting, and from what date to what date are they going to be fasting. And what the school does is that they make sure that they're sort of like, if they see the fact that they're not eating and their energy levels are low, they will basically call them back, and they'll turn around and say, have a break on the bench. It's like Uzi, he loves football, so that boy is just like, you know, he zooms around. So at the moment he's got a broken wrist, unfortunately, so he has to sit. So it's worked out as a little bit of a blessing, so he's not overexerting himself.
And what about their friends? How do they find that, kind of explaining to their friends that this is what they're doing?
Do you know something with Liba, because majority of her friends are all fasting, so they have a sort of like group, so they sort of like look after each other. So any other questions, and be honest with you, the school does promote Ramadan, so they do explain to the other children as well that some children will be fasting, which is brilliant at the end of the day. And any questions they just answer. It's like the having water question comes up all the time. Uzi says that they said that, oh, do you want a drink of water? So I have to explain to them on that I can't have water. So he loves it. He's a little bit of a debater as well, be honest with you. He loves to spread knowledge, shall I say.
Oh, bless. And am I right in thinking there's lots of activities around when you kind of break the fast? There's like a celebration time.
Eid, yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Be honest with you, this is everything just builds. It's a big build up to Eid, which is a celebration which we celebrate for 3 days, not just the one day. We celebrate for 3. So we will have food. There's loads of food. We will meet with family, and you will get gifts. You'll get a lot of money because the kids like money now. So our kids, they tend to go for the envelope instead of the gift. So they sort of like save with that, and then they buy something big, and I just sort of like top it up to whatever they want, be honest with you. But the celebration in the mosque on the last what we call the last prayer, the last fast, is just amazing. And then the Eid namaz, where I just feel that, you know something, with our kids, take them to the mosque and encourage and show them the unity that we have in our religion. And it's a beautiful religion. It's a very peaceful religion.
So
They
would we
need
be
to see.
welcome to do that, to go to a mosque? And
Oh yes, 100%, 100%. It's beautiful. Honestly, we have our particular mosque that we go to, which is a Korea mosque in Bolton. They have a day that non-believers can come in, and they will show them around the mosque. They will hear the azan, they will see the prayers, and then they'll have a meal as well.
oh, how lovely.
Yeah, so it's just it's inviting the community in to show them that, you know something, we don't just shut the door and, you know, we just pray. No, it's about talks. It's about, we call them bayan, we talk about talks where you will learn just simple steps of the religion. It's nothing hard hitting, it's just peace.
Sounds beautiful. I'm conscious that obviously in fostering agencies, especially here at Capstone, we try as much as we can to match children with families that are going to be of similar culture and traditions as best as we can. That's not always possible, but obviously that's the aim. But if a foster carer themselves doesn't observe Ramadan, obviously I'm thinking through what you're saying and about what that would be like to look after a child who does want to. So obviously taking them to the mosque is going to be really key. But there are going to be certain sensitivities, obviously not eating and drinking around them if that's what they want to do. Is there any kind of other tips that you would give a foster carer who is now looking after a child who wants to observe Ramadan? What kind of practical things could they consider?
Be honest with you, like I touched on that subject of how Uzi started his fast 1 hour, it would be lovely for that foster carer to fast with them for that 1 hour. And then they will feel that they're not just doing it alone, and that person is actually sitting with me, and they're going to open their fast. It's like my co-foster carer, we had the conversation only just before Ramadan to say that, because Ali is in a Christian household. So I turned around and said that, you know something, it would be brilliant from 5:30 to 6:30, let him do that fast for that 1 hour. And then when the azan goes off, because I've given him a copy of the timetable, put a date and put a piece of Zamzam water or just any plain water, and let him open his fast as if he was opening his fast doing the full day. And I know at the end of the day that he will do that, and it's just encouraged. And I know that Ali's going to love it, and I know Scott will love it as well, to be honest with you.
And about 7, 8 is normally the time that children would start joining in.
Yeah, 7. I'll be honest with you, it's how you feel that child will cope. So it's not, you don't have to. You will see the ability of the child first and think that, you know something, if they sort of like know at the end of the day they love their food, they're going to find it a little bit harder. So what you do is that you just do that, start it off small, and then work the way until the full fast is done. But by, I would say, 16, they should be doing it.
Okay.
They should be doing it by the time they're 16. But health reasons aside, if they can't, they don't have to.
Yeah, obviously there would be medical
Reasons they won't have to, be honest.
But
You have
generally
to
that
be
period of fasting is good for you, right?
100%. It's good for your immune system. It rebuilds all your cells that die. So, and then when you're praying your namaz as well 5 times, it's a form of exercise. So what you're doing is that when you stand, you bend down, you prostrate, you go on the floor, you get up. That's a form of five exercises a day. So some people who get no exercise at all are getting exercise through praying namaz. It's all, there's a method to the madness, believe it or not. There we do the fasting, it builds your immunity. Namaz gives you exercise, and the whole month, because of the spiritual aspect, it for your mental health, it helps. It really does help with mental health, because you find your oneness. And then the community helps because you're around a lot of people. And usually when somebody's sort of like sitting in their bedroom or they're sitting at home alone, you get that sense of community, and the community lifts you as well. So, and we know now how bad people's mental health is. So I think times like Ramadan is just brilliant for them people.
How did you manage that during lockdown?
I found it, did you know something? I found it easier, believe it or not, because we did a lot of sort of like activities. When the children were home, we did so many more activities. So we did sort of like quizzes. I just done some random quizzes about our prophet. So then I would ask the children. Then we did more Islamic studies. So they grasped a deeper meaning of their religion, be honest with you, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it.
So you just kind of missed out on that wider community.
Yeah, that was all. But because we were doing FaceTime as well a lot with the other family members, and then we at one point I did all our family children, we did the quiz for everybody on Zoom.
Love an online quiz.
I love, and they really, I tell you something, they loved it. Because we're going to do this every year. We're going to do this every. I said, well, you'll be at school, but if we ever get an opportunity, we will do it on a weekend.
That would be great. Also, this has been really informative. Thank you so much. I've certainly learned a lot, and hopefully those who are watching are as well. So how many days do you have left to go before Eid?
Oh, our Eid is going to be, inshallah, on the 21st of April, permitting the sighting of the moon.
Okay. Who decides that?
The moon.
So is there like official kind of text?
It's the crescent moon. As soon as the crescent moon is sighted, the moon will tell us it's going to be Eid the next day.
Right, okay. So what is the official greeting I should end this podcast with?
Wa alaikum assalam.
Okay.
So
One more
officially,
time.
wa alaikum. You should say wa alaikum
Walaikum
assalam.
assalam.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sid. I've really enjoyed chatting to you today. Best of luck.
Thank you so much for having me.